my sincere hope. And I can swear by it. That you all will take this and make a difference in your mind and not be the same the next day. It is my sincere hope. And the reason for that is love the correct way the people around you. Love the people around you correctly by your practice and the difference it makes in your mind. Show love to the people around you that way. If you need to be fierce with compassion. If you need to be gentle with compassion. There are some people who are quite sneaky and tricky, but they talk very soft and talk very nice. But they're very sneaky. They don't ever raise their voice. They're quite sneaky. So if you want to talk gentle, even talk gentle with compassion. If you want to go to sleep, sleep with compassion. How? I will rest my body so that I can do more Dharma work to benefit others. Therefore, I will go to sleep. And even sleeping becomes meritorious. Don't go towards, gravitate towards, pray towards, increase the habituation, and make it stronger, the habit of attachment to a partner, attachment to food, attachment to money, attachment to material, attachment to name, to position. Why? Because they'll all be taken away from you sooner or later. So the energy you put into it is not worth the result you get. Because the energy you put into it is not worth the result that you get. Isn't that the truth? I'm not giving you some Dharma fear. You're going to be punished. You're going to go to hell. I'm not giving you, Dhammapada Setup is not going to help you. No, I'm not going to give you any fears. You can't be scared. You know enough Dharma to rise above superstition. Most of it. So I'm giving you the truth. And I sincerely hope that the effort that I put in opening a center, in putting in liaisons, the effort I put in nurturing people, in giving gifts, and spending thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars a year in giving gifts, and spending literally hundreds of thousands of dollars to help my students who are in danger and problems. Hundreds of thousands. And I hope thousands of hours I spent in teaching. And I hope the thousands of hours I spent in buying food and arranging it. And the hundreds of hours I've spent in SMSing Dharma message to people. And the amount of time I've given for my personal life, because I don't have any personal freedom at all. I can't do what all of you can do. That all the time that I've given in a monastery, and all the effort I've given toward Guru devotion and practice and learning the Dharma in my life, I dedicate it to you. I dedicate it to everyone listening to this teaching who will hear. I dedicate it to you. And I pray your mind will transform. I pray you will create less difficulties in your mind for yourself and others. And I sincerely dedicate and pray that my life in the Dharma, teaching, the monastery, the poverty that I've suffered, sleeping on the streets, this incarnation has gone through. And all the money and all the energy and time that I've spent, everything I've given, I dedicate to all of you. And I'm not being dramatic, I really do. Everyone who hears this, transform your mind. If you can commit to doing Dharma work, commit. Forget about yourself. If you can donate to Dharma work, donate. Forget about the next car you want to buy. Add it to your 8 cars. If you can be patient and not show ugliness to your partner and lover and friend, control your anger. Control it and don't show it. If you can fulfill the dedication by being very patient and not complaining to others, do it. If you want to give up attaining enlightenment and practicing and going through the difficult methods, I dedicate you to it. A Lama, and I'm trying to be, will dedicate his life for all of you. You will never hear him say anything besides Gewanti Nududa, Daso Jinisapi Gewanti, or Chudija Bozongama. No Lama will ever dedicate any dedications for their self-achievement, for their self-gain. No Lama. Every Lama, after every Dharma talk, every Dharma action, every Dharma day, every Dharma session will dedicate it to others. Why? That is what a Lama's life is about. It's not just beautiful words. If you've attended today's talk, and you've heard this, let other people know. Tenma Rinpoche dedicates his merits to all of you. That your mind, please transform. That your actions, please transform. Please think about others more than yourself. Please put your reputation on the line. Please look bad if it benefits another person. Please use methods that you're not used to help another person. Please. Why? That's the only way to leave any unhappiness you have in your mind. And it's much more difficult. It is much more difficult. But the result will be lasting and permanent. Is this an appeal? Yes. Is it a request? Yes. Is it a dedication? Yes. The rest of your lives, commit to spiritual practice and transformation and dedication to others. How do you do that? If you're good at complaining, don't complain. If you're good at anger, don't get angry, control yourself. If you're lazy to push yourself, push yourself. If you can't commit, commit yourself. Whatever you find difficult, may my dedication transform that difficulty for you. May none of you ever take rebirth in a horrible situation. Horrible. May you change your destiny. I can't change it for you, but I can give you the teachings. I can't take your problems away, but I can share with you Lord Buddha's methods to alleviate them long term. If you're lazy, face it. If you're manipulative, face it. If you're stingy, face it. If you have a big ego, face it. If you always run away and escape, face it. How do you face it? Don't do it. I dedicated to this. And I'm not trying to criticize you. I dedicated for this. Hence, always I recite Gewandi. Gewandi Lama Sangye draw days May all sentient beings reach the Guru Buddha's state of enlightenment. Hence, that's why I'm explaining this to you. So the thousands of hours I've taught, the 42 years of my life, I'm 42, that I've given to the Dharma, the many years I slept on the street, even to attend Vajrayana teachings when I was very young, when I was in my 12 and 13, I got slapped for, I got beaten up for. And after Vajrayana teachings, I left my home immediately because I was not allowed to stay home anymore since I wanted to practice the Dharma. I was disowned. I never saw my mother and father ever again after I left. That was their wish. That is the sacrifice I went through. I worked 3 jobs. I worked very hard in America to support myself to stay in the Dharma Center. I worked very, very hard. And the reason was to stay in the Dharma Center. I gave up everything in America at 22, 23 to go to India 3 times a month. I stayed in the monastery starving to death, studying with my teachers. I was forced to go and teach. I wasn't allowed to go into retreat. I have not been able to work for my own sustenance. There were many times in Malaysia, many times, I had no money. And very little people to support and help me. There were many times that I had nothing. That if I didn't work for the Dharma, I would have something, inverted commas. And that the work that I put toward here by building a center, raising funds, making sponsors happy, begging, asking, talking, convincing, the thousands of hours I spent out of the limelight, out of the throne, behind the scenes in my private house, in my private lajong, in Damekong, the thousands of hours that I spent with people individually, and I mean thousands, and the thousands of hours of retreats I've done, and the daily practices I've done, and offerings, and the generosity of saving my students, helping financially, so many ways, so many years of helping my students. All that must mean something. It must mean something. All my suffering and problem suffering, inverted commas. It cannot be wasted. So I dedicate it. I really do. I dedicate it to everyone. May be liberated. First step to transform your mind. Transform your thoughts. Repay the kindness to the people around you in the real way. Repay the kindness to the people around you in a real way. Please listen to me. The real way. Don't give up. Push. Make the Dharma grow from compassion, not bias. Follow your lineage, follow your teacher, follow your center. Loyalty, not from bias, from focus of one path. I dedicate it for that. I truly do. I can't dedicate it for anything else. Because if I dedicated it for myself, all that would have been wasted. If I dedicated it for everyone else, it would not be wasted. I'll tell you why. Because that's the qualities we need to achieve and have to become a Buddha. So how can I dedicate opposite the quality of a Buddha? I must dedicate it in accordance with the path of the Buddha to become a Buddha. Cause resemble result. Result resemble cause. Yin Guo. So like that, there's no other way I can dedicate it if I am smart. And it's less courage to dedicate it for yourself. It's more courage to dedicate for others. No. Actually, it's more courage to dedicate for others and less courage to dedicate for yourself. Why? If you dedicate for others, the result takes longer, but the result is permanent. When you dedicate for yourself, the result is quick, but it's not permanent. It gets taken away. Don't we want permanency? Isn't the Noble Truth talking about impermanence, and when things change, we suffer? I mean every word I say. Time is short. Life is short. Do your sadhanas. Give your time over to the Dharma. And to those of you who have the honor to receive tantric initiation, do your sadhanas long. Hold your commitments, do so. Don't make it a joke. Don't switch your practices back and forth. You like this one, you like that one, you don't like that one, that one. Don't switch gurus and practices like we switch our religion. And if you have a Lama, and I don't refer to me, but it may look like that, or it may indirectly become that, follow your Lama. Have faith in your Lama. And no matter how your Lama manifests, think of the higher purpose. Support the monks. Support the Sangha, because they are studying, they're holding their vows. Support the nuns. They're holding their vows. They're beautiful women and men who have dedicated their life to Dharma. That's what we do. Make Dharma books happen. Support your Dharma center. Support your Dharma people. And those people with positions such as Lisan and Kamini, do your job. Don't complain other people are not doing their job. Don't complain no one showed you or taught you or you don't know anything. That can't be true, but if that's the situation, how do we turn it around? That's the secret. And if your Lama has called upon you to do things, please do it. Please do it because he's dedicating his merits towards you. If he's asked you to do something, you can be sure he's at his house secretly making offerings and doing pujas to empower you. You can be sure of that. Every Lama will do that. So the Lamas ask you to do something, do it from your heart. Even if you fail, you didn't fail. Because perhaps it's the work, perhaps it's your attitude that he's trying to transform. Maybe he's trying to transform your attitude, maybe he's just trying to transform the work. You're not sure. But definitely, if the Lama calls upon you to do work, don't refuse. Don't stop. You'll change your karma, you'll change your destiny, you'll change what will happen to you later. Trust the Lama if you believe the Lama has no agenda. After you've checked your Lama, if you feel he has no agenda, that means ulterior negative motivation. And when he calls upon you to do the work, do it. I'm not talking about here, I'm talking about every single student out there who is blessed by the presence of their Lama in every lineage and everywhere. And when you come across obstacles, it is your Lama's blessings. So your negative karma will purify and you will become stronger. This is what I was told by Lucky Rinpoche. I believe it. So whatever the Lama has said and asked you, do it. There can be higher reasons. There can be a long-term reason. Do it. It doesn't necessarily have to be magical. A parent can tell a daughter, a father can tell a daughter, a mother can tell a son what to do to predict the future by saying do this and this and this. It's just by logic. A guru can also. One who practices and knows the Dhamma. It's not psychic powers. I'm not trying to pretend I've got powers. No. So think about that. It's almost 12 o'clock, and we're all Cinderellas. We need to get out here by 12. But today you spent 3 hours in listening to something that helps your life. You spent 3 hours in something that transforms your life. And you've spent 3 hours, which was probably the best part of your month in Dharma. Why do I assume that? Not because you saw Tamaranji, because of the message. Transform the mind. Change your attitude. Let go of those who hurt you. Forgive those who hurt you. Forgive yourself for your fear of failure. Let go of your failures. You have failed and you're afraid to fail again. That's why we run. We run because we're afraid to fail again. And when we see failure coming around the bend, we run. Don't be hard. Forgive your failure and don't run. Continue. Be generous with others. Share your bounty and good fortune. Don't be calculative. The results are harsh. And watch one's speech. Anything you say about another person will come back to you. And if that person is realized or practiced or has vows, it will be even stronger the karma that comes back to you. Hold your tantric vows, hold your bodhisattva vows, hold your refuge vows. Hold it more precious in your own eyes. And do what the Lama has requested of you. Not when he's watching, not when other people are watching. When you're watching. And then you'll find purpose. Any questions? It's been a great pleasure. Although I hate teaching, when I actually teach, I feel fulfilled. But I actually hate teaching. And don't ask me why. You see, if you're a trainer at the gym, and the guy who's been training you for the last 5 years is still fat and overweight, you're going to hate your job. Let me give you a hint. Since I need to end this with a little bit of a reality show emotions. So therefore, I don't know when, I don't know how, I'm working on it, because I'm afraid to work with this in a situation where people can't make it, they cop out, they can't do it, they give up, they're not committed, or they do it halfway. But I would like to do a talk show, as I told all of you guys. And I want to interview people, just like this. I want to bring Dharma out via the people. So I want to have a couch, and I'm going to be the Tibetan, Malaysian Oprah Winfrey, and I'm going to ask you wonderful questions that make you think, that make you answer, that make you talk, and that'll make you know what you don't know, that'll make you know what you do know, not to embarrass you, to irk you, to push you, to also make you feel good. So I will ask you in such a way that you will convey the Dharma to others. I have my wish. And that'll be exciting. We'll have a live audience. We'll have a live audience, we'll have 2 or 3 guests, and we'll have subjects like, how did you feel about going to Ganden? What did you think about Ganden Monastery? What was your first experience when you came into Dharma Center? Did your mother freak out when you said you were a Tibetan Buddhist? And what was your first thought about Tibetan Buddhism? The Lamas all want money. Let's talk about it. The Lamas all want money. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about controversial issues. Let's talk about non-controversial. We're just going to talk. We're going to talk, and we're going to air this all over the world. Why? Because there's going to be a lot of people out there who think just like us, but they're not Arab, they're not saved. So Tamaranji is going to do that. Tamaranji is going to be a show host that interviews you, that asks you questions, and you're going to be sitting there watching and interacting. Instead of sitting there listening to him talk for 3 hours, We're going to listen to each other talk, and we're not going to be afraid. So it's going to be this. The theme is knowledge through students. Dharma through students. And I came up with that because I had sore throat and laryngitis, and I was teaching from talking. So I thought, how do I get away with not teaching but still teach? Ta-da! So imagine if I get Wai-Ming, who's been in Dharma so many years. How about Mr. Koki, who's sitting down there, we talk. There's going to be things he knows, there's going to be things he doesn't know, but that's the whole process. Because everybody else can relate with that person. I know there's some people thinking, I hope I don't get called out. Like silly Millie, she's saying, please not me, please not me. Not me, definitely. And then Natashi sitting there saying, I will not sleep for a whole week and live in Ladrong and do whatever you want if you don't call me up. I won't sleep for 2 weeks. Nothing. I won't sleep for the rest of this year. If I don't get called up. I know Tashi's doing that. She's going to write little notes and SMS, round and round, like bargaining. But the people who bargain are be the ones who get called up first. And there'll be people who's dying to get up there. Who's dying, who's thinking, what do I wear? What do I wear? What do I wear like JP? What do I wear? He's dying. You know why? JP, he doesn't have ego about talking. He talks well. He's got great speech. He looks good. Paris was in love with him for 4 weeks. And now it's over. And he looks good. He talks well. And if he talks, there's going to be a lot of people out there who are just like him who can relate to what he's talking about. So that's what it's about. You see, you're going to appeal to a certain group, so we need to have a variety of people so it appeals to everybody, and that's fun. And sometimes we're not going to talk about Dharma. We can talk about what we had for dinner and why. We're going to talk about why were you born in JB? I'm going to talk about a lot of things. Yeah. We're going to talk about balding, because I'm losing a lot of hair. We're going to talk about balding. We're going to talk about how you feel about it, how the relations of balding and Dharma and Karma. Isn't that great? Balding, Dharma, and Karma. I don't know, somehow I'll weave it in. We're going to talk about a lot of things, and we're going to be open and easy about it. Why are we going to do that? It's going to be another way to express, to learn, to share Dharma with many people out there. And that's our job, to bring Dharma to many people as we can, through many methods. And we can fail, we can make it, we can fail, we can make it, we can fail, make it in many ways. But we can't stop trying in this life and future lives. Why? Because we have compassion. So we're going to have that. I don't know what it's going to call it. Maybe it's going to be the Tenryuchi show. We're going to think of something really catchy. The Neon Lama Hour. Neon Lama speaks. Trash opens his mouth. Something. Trashy Lama. Tibetan goes to the dumps. A Tibetan Lama finished. Something like that. And I get accused of being disrobed. I'm not disrobed, but I get accused of that. So we can talk, disrobe opens his mouth. Something like all tears. You know how I get disrobed? Because I was in a train station and I was raped. Oh, yeah, right. And we get Sachin up there, we talk about Rod Stewart and hair. Isn't that great? We'll get Mr. Nao up here. We'll talk about very sensitive issues like his previous affiliations. And then every time we mention the name, we go, bloop. And then we'll get Crystal up here. How do you feel about the title Madame Mixama? What's the pressures? We'll talk about it. Madame Mixama had a lot of things. Can you do a little chanting for us? We'll get Joy up here. Joy is a beautiful young Malaysian lady with a beautiful young New Zealand man, and they're a wonderful little lover here, a couple. And we'll get Joy up here and we'll say, how do you feel about statues and painting? Why? She does a great job, incredible painting style. We'll talk about it. Why do you paint? How do you paint? And when Rinpoche first told you that, do you think it was some kind of trick to trap you into Dharma work and don't work outside? And what did your friends tell you? What did your sister tell you? We say all kinds of things. And you know what? Whatever she says is going to benefit a lot of people out there, because there's going to be a lot of young ladies and men out there who are just like her. Beautiful, intelligent, but they're spiritual. And people want to hear it. Then we'll talk about Ben. We'll ask them, Ben, why is it when I ask you a question, it takes 5 minutes for you to think and answer, 10 minutes later? We go for a commercial break. We can talk about that. We can talk about how to speed talk. Then we get Chiang. He's on TV. We talk to him. We wake him up first. Wake up. That's your question. That's right. We'll get Andy out there, and we'll have cue cards commercial for Andy. Oh yes, I have a lot of people doing it. Very, very excited. We'll get James up there. James is a great singer. Go and ask him, how do you bring Dharma into your singing life? Let's talk about it. You see, James is very sneaky. When he's featured on programs for singing, he's the head of Saraswati Guitar House, and they're very subtle. So people ask him, "What's Guitar House? What's that? What's that?" Then he starts talking, and he becomes a preacher, and you have to take refuge in the 3 jewels. That's right. Then we have a beautiful lady here, Juan. She's from Thailand. We'll ask, why does a young, intelligent, educated, beautiful lady in Bangkok hang out in Malaysia? We'll have her change the reasons. Anyway, you guys know her. We'll think of more diplomatic reasons. We won't show her the results for a bad karma. And how do you feel about working in Guitar Paradise and running it over and all that stuff? And we gotta get JP. We gotta have a fashion show, We'll have a 10-minute, why not? We'll have a little fashion show. We'll have our fashion JD princess, Joanne Fan, parade up and down her outfits and her heels. Have you seen her? Some of her JB downtown beautiful fashions? Incredible. So we'll have her walk up there, and then of course we'll have Rudy, he'll be our male model. We'll call it Tenerichi and neon shirts. Rudy's fabulous, I like him. I'm not even joking. We can have these kind of things, we'll be creative. Why? That's today's world, my friends. That's how people need the Dharma, my friends. There's conservatives out there, there's old-fashioned people out there, there's new-fashioned, they're all correct. Old-fashioned people, old-fashioned lamas, new-fashioned lamas, nobody's right, nobody's wrong. However we can bring the Dharma message to people, let's do it. Let's do it. And if people criticize us for that, never mind, because we dedicated ourselves to others. So they're going to put you down because you're different. They're going to put you down because you're acting non-Buddhist or non-Tibetan Lama or non-conformation style. You're not conforming to the way you're supposed to be. If they criticize you for that, be patient and dedicate it back to them. In response to their harm, give them love. When others, out of jealousy, treat me with abuse, slander, and so on, may I suffer the defeat and offer the victory to others. May I offer victory to others. So sometimes when we offer the victory to others, we might have to tell them off. We have to shout at them. Why? If we didn't care, we wouldn't do that, would we? If we didn't care enough, we wouldn't shout it off. Offer the victory to others. Offering the victories comes in many ways. That's what we're going to do. When or how, where. The best place is with the oasis.